Greetings, comrades. This is Mordred Viking, and we will be guiding the Union of Britain in Hearts of Iron 4. This is the Kaiserreich mod, which has just had a new update. So not only is it now working with Hearts of Iron 1.3.3, but it actually has an update of its own. So many of the things have supposedly been fixed, including, I hope, the German Empire actually being a worthwhile enemy. But we're going to play as the Union of Britain. Our objective is going to be... Well, actually, let's read the history and then I'll talk about the objective. So, after 1921's peace with honour ended the Weltkreig, the faith and support of the people in the home islands had disappeared. In 1925, disaster struck. A minor labour dispute quickly escalated into a general strike called by the TUC, followed by military desertions to the strikers. After 6 weeks of rioting on a massive scale, the royal family and most of the country's elites were evacuated to Canada, and instead, a new Congress of trade unions assumed political authority. The British people are currently content to build socialism in isolation, yet many are starting to think that the monarchists in Canada cannot be allowed to plot against the Union indefinitely. And that very much hints at what we are going to do. We are going to basically spread socialism throughout the world, in particular Canada, because screw those guys. So yeah, we're going to maintain our alliance with the Third Internationale, so with the Commune of France. We're going to take down the monarchist scum in Germany, in Austria, in Russia if they go that way, and definitely in Canada. And we'll probably be trying to support the Union of Syndicalists in the US Civil War. So anyway, Union of Britain, yes, we are indeed selected. We have militias, which grant us additional recruitable population, increased division recovery rate, but reduced organisation and planning speed. The British military is still largely organised in the impromptu workers' militias of 1925. While these local militias have a high morale, they seem disregardful of some of the finer concepts of warfare, such as the need for working logistics. Due to their deafening cries of "break the chains, break the chains," our officers routinely suffer from psychological breakdowns. Splendid isolation. Plus 100% send volunteers tension limit, justify goal, wartime, join faction tension limit, and guarantee tension limit. While Congregationalists are most vocal about it, all functions of British politics advocate at least some form of British isolationism. This may change over time, but for now it will take a foreign involvement very hard. Sorry, it will make foreign involvement very hard. And then here we have a couple of the focuses, which I'm sure will come through while we're actually playing. Alright, so we are playing as the Union of Britain. Do I want to change these? I still kind of feel like these actually break the game. We're definitely playing on veteran, because that actually is a big change. I'm not actually going to improve the Union of Britain, I'm just seeing what their other options are. Reinforce rate, division attack on core, division defense on core, production efficiency. We're going to play without these things on, because they do tend to just screw up their manpower. We were playing a stream yesterday, and it still kind of seemed to be something of a problem. They just build far too much stuff and just waste manpower. Although the Soviets did put up a good fight. No, we're going to play with just veteran. Like this will be fine. Okay. So once we are in, we'll have a look at our starting situation. We'll start developing some stuff and getting things going that way. So what has changed in this new update? Well, the main thing is there are just a whole bunch of new focuses for a bunch of different countries. I'm just going to open up the patches and versions thing here. That's the last one. There it is. Focus trees for Bolivia, Bulgaria, Carlist, Spain, Central America, Colombia, Mongolia, Peru, Sweden, and the United Baltic Duchy. I was very tempted actually to play as Carlist Spain, because you'll remember that Carlist Spain is who we were supporting as the German Empire when we played the Army with a State game. But then I thought, you know what, I kind of fancy playing as Britain again. It's been a while. They've also improved and expanded focus trees of Austria, Brazil, Syndicalist Spain, Commune of France, Japan, Lithuania, the Netherlands, Russia, and Britain. I would quite like to do a game as the Netherlands at some point, but not right now. And then they've added a whole bunch of new events, a whole load of graphics, and then some miscellaneous changes. You can find all of this on their patch notes, which I will link in the description if I remember. Right, so let's have a look at the focus tree, because I have not actually seen this yet. I love how massive these are. Playing vanilla yesterday, I was like, this thing's tiny. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so we have the 1936 Congress of the Trade Unions, which gives us political power and leads to basically everything else. Military affairs, which we cannot do until we've done the Congress of Trade Unions. And allows us to go towards military stuff and then foreign policy over there on the right. So I think we are going to be focusing, I see what the internal policy gives us. Home rule, which gives daily political power gain. Ooh, that's quite a nice one. Or political commissars, which gives reinforced rate and division recovery rate, but reduced supply consumption. That's also not bad. The Grand Protector. The current chairman will become General Secretary and Grand Protector of the Union of Britain. And we have revolution, removes national spirit, militias, splendid isolationism. Attempt to bring order to the country. Our success will depend on how many reforms we've put through already. So you basically don't want to do these until you've done a lot of this stuff over here. Then home rule. Yeah, that's the political power. Move the TUC. Wales and Scotland become puppets once devolution is complete. No, we are not doing devolution. So I think we're going to do political commissars, and then either evolution or revolution. I don't know yet which. Probably evolution. And then remove national spirit. Silence after the storm. What's that? Oh, I think that might be a spirit which appears after the war has ended. So I think they are starting to get into a little bit more of the post-war stuff, which is kind of interesting. Though, we'll see how it works. I'm kind of suspect not very well, because the Great War also tries to do a post-war thing between World War I and World War II, and it just doesn't really work because the peace system is so balked. But actually, no, one of the big features they have apparently added is a new peace system. So maybe it is changed. I don't know. We haven't done that yet. Like, a lot of this stuff is going to be new to me. So we're going to learn that stuff together. Production efficiency cap plus 5%. That's quite nice. Oh, is that only if you have central industry authority? I see. Or the local help, which is production towards that. To get loads of infrastructure and then political power. Civilian to military conversion cost. I never do that. And then the stuff in the middle you can just do. I kind of like the idea of the central industry research. Oh yeah, that's for dispersing. Yeah, we're definitely doing centralized. Okay, so let's definitely start with the Congress of Trade Unions. Do we have any penalties to political power? Only the one from veteran. This year's TUC will probably be a bit special. Long-time Chairman Philip Snowden has indicated that he intends to resign. The decentralizationist autonomists, led by Nicholas E. Glace, centralizationist Marxists Oswald Mosley, and status quo federationalists Arthur Horner, with his egalitarian and pacifist running mate Annie Kenny, are all vying for superiority. These will be nights to remember. Yeah, especially because these bloody party names are ridiculous. Centralizationist Marxists Mosley, status quo federationalists Horner, and his egalitarian and pacifist running mate. Decentralizationist autonomists. No, I think we're going to be the centralizationist Marxist under Mosley. Isn't he usually the fascist? Pretty sure he's usually the fascist. I think he's just playing with power there. He doesn't really care. Okay, so we're going to be taking the construction speed and factory repair. Now, this is one of the changes I freaking love, is the construction tree now increases both construction speed and factory repair speed, rather than this middle one just doing all of the repair speed in one place. So it means that you can evolve the repair speed over time. We're also going to get basic machine tools to get that going. We're going to grab a little bit more technology from the mechanical computing. And we don't have any penalties to doctrines or anything. So being isolationists, I think that we should be focusing a little bit on the Navy, because we know that the Union of Britain Navy sucks at the start of the game. And actually, how is our naval production? 14 dockyards, that's quite a lot. How much is that compared to, say, Germany, though? Like, are we going to be in a position to fight against Germany at sea? They do start with a silly number of ships. They do start with more dockyards. But if we build more of them, then we can counter the Germans. Plus, of course, the German Navy is colonial. Ours is not. We literally just own Britain here. We have no colonies, nothing. All the colonies are still owned by the Dominion of Canada, which is the Commonwealth. We have no dominions. Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, all of that, not ours. So I think I'm going to start researching light cruisers, because I freaking love those things. Although we're not going to be fighting submarines. The Germans don't have many submarines in this. No, we're going to go... This is actually a tough choice. I'm going to go with a heavy cruiser-focused fleet this time. Essex class. And then we have 3 civilian factories. Are we going to be able to build some more civilian factories, or do we need to focus a bit more on infrastructure? So another really big change in 1.3.3, which is the vanilla Hearts of Iron, is that infrastructure now impacts the build speed of factories. So the more infrastructure you have in a province, the faster it builds. And accordingly, they have also increased the cost of factories. So if you're trying to build these things in poorly developed provinces, they are going to take forever. And that's going to be a particular problem for our little friends over there in red. Well, in vanilla. So I'm so happy that that wasn't a thing during the 11-player multiplayer, because that would have screwed me. Although, that actually, no, it wouldn't have. Because I have most of my industry building in Siberia, and I would actually have focused it more around Moscow, and considering we lost Siberia to Japan, it probably would actually be beneficial. Okay, anyway, back to this game. Enough talking about that. So we are going to build a civilian factory in London, in the Midlands, both sides. Sussex, sure, Sussex, and Lancashire, as those are the most well developed. Then once those are built, then I think we're going to switch to building more infrastructure. We're going to get everything up to level 8 at least. Oh, blimey, that's a long way off. And that is everything. And then maybe even upgrading more of that. But infrastructure does tend to build pretty quickly, so that's fine. And we also need to decide what we are going to be producing. So currently, our infantry divisions are all we have. And that is literally just infantry. We do have with tank support, which is light tanks. Meh. And then with artillery, which is with support artillery. So I think mostly we just want guns. Do we have any stockpile at all? Just convoys. Alright, let's start making some guns. And some support equipment, and some motorized, and some artillery. Though we have no oil suppliers right now, so maybe not motorized at this juncture. Something like that. Until we get a way of getting oil. Actually, having no oil is going to screw our navy construction. Speaking of navy construction, we are going to start building... Destroyer 2, Battlecruiser 2. You know, we're going to start building some Battlecruiser 2s to try and get them out. I'm going to add them to the Channel Fleet, sure. And yeah, full-on construction of that. We're going to need more chromium and oil. How are we going to get those? I don't really want to use my factories. Because with the other new rule is if you have 0 in any production thing, they just don't get built, which is a change I don't like. Like, I have loads of steel, so there is steel at least being laid into the ship. It's just no oil. But because we have no oil, the construction rate will just be 0. I really hate that system. We're going to have to buy some. From whom? Netherlands. You sound like somebody somewhat reasonable. And chromium we will buy from Russian Republic. Like so. Alright. Oh no, shit, we don't want to unpause. Because we want to have a look at our government. So we are on a volunteer-only military, which has 267,000 manpower. We're on an export focus, which is fine, because we want the construction speed, civilian economy, obviously. Average stability. Now, apparently they have tweaked this a little bit. So if we had 150 political power, we could go up to good stability. If you want to go to, if you go down to average stability again, if you let your power go below 0. Is that true for here as well? It is. See, I dislike the fact that you go from very good to good if you just go below 0. Surely that should be below like 150. Okay, so stability hasn't really changed. Party politics, we are 51% syndicalist. So I can't see us gaining political power anytime soon. No decisions. Okay, so ministers have apparently also been overhauled. So these guys should all be different. Yes, they are. Awesome. So having different ministers in place matters. Okay, that's very cool. So currently we have Arthur Horner, who is the head of the government. Ambitious union boss, consumer goods factories increased by 5%, I guess, but daily political power. Then we have foreign minister, radical socialists, great compromiser, desire to be in or expand a faction plus 10, focus on peace plus 50, trade deal, opinion factor plus 20. So he's really good at securing trade, actually. Resource industrialist, gain efficiency plus 15%, production efficiency cap plus 5%. Mosley is very good at producing stuff. And then Helen Crawford is daily political power and recruitable population reduction. Interesting. Crime fighter. Okay, and then if we had an intel minister, are these all intel ministers? These are all intel ministers. That is a lot of intel ministers. And again, oh, these just give encryption or decryption. Oh, no, they're all decryption people. Oh, no, there's an encryption. Okay, so some are like pro-security, some of them are not. Then I guess the companies are unchanged. Okay, so the companies have again been modified depending on type. So instead of just giving you a full 6 slots to customize as you wish, that was a little bit too powerful because you could basically just stack up loads of one type. So now you actually have to make a choice. So we could get the Birmingham Small Arms Company, which gives us soft attack and breakthrough, soft attack and defense, or another soft attack and defense. You can only have one. Alright, what's the difference between these two? Don't know. And then tanks or heavy equipment, you can have 2 of these. So artillery, motorized, heavy tanks, or light tanks. And then light bombers, heavy bombers, fighters, light bombers, fighters, heavy bombers, capital ships, cruisers, and small ships. So it is weapons, and then heavy equipment, which is tanks, motorized, mechanized, then ships and navy, and then industry here at the end. I don't know why you would ever go for these 2 over that. Unless you need a technology for it. Apparently not. Then military staff have also been changed. And apparently they've done this for basically every country, which is freaking phenomenal, I have to say. Okay, cool. Let's start skipping through time and let things happen. Kaiserreich Alpha 0.3. The Kaiserreich team proudly presents the Alpha 0.3 of our Kaiserreich Hearts of Iron 4 project. For months now, our team has worked from every corner of the world to bring this mod to you. We hope you will enjoy it as much as we do. First off, there are several things we'd like to point out regarding our new mechanics. If you check the politics tab of your country, you'll see we've added all kinds of new slots and other bits. That is the foundation of a new political system, which we expand in the future. Keep in mind stability, yeah, we know all of this. Finally, we'd like to remind you this is early alpha. We know that stuff, so we're just going to say go. Many thanks to the Kaiserreich Hearts of Iron 4 team, as you can see there, and I think they've actually expanded this credits list, so thank you very much to everyone who is doing the Kaiserreich stuff. I don't even like this mods. Great job, lads. Only lads, no ladies. This is the president of the International News Tribune speaking. Kaiserreich is a mod deeply entrenched in lore and storytelling, conveyed through events, national foci, and other means. However, as the player, you might not even realise this, because most of this is happening in foreign countries or unknown to your eyes. Therefore, we have created a system of news events that tell you about the major events that happened recently in other countries. They contain tidbits of lore to help you understand the meaning of the reasons for these events of the world. They're also pretty and stuff. However, you may be a game tester or have serious addiction with this being your 1000th game this week, or just a player who doesn't want pop-ups in your face all the time. So you will have the option to turn this feature off entirely or allow only the important news events to fire. It's your choice. I want to know everything, because I actually really like that aspect to this game. I haven't played with the news stuff. That's another new thing. So, cool. Alright, so constructions are beginning. We don't have that much industry at the start. Comrade Mosley calls a meeting. Comrade Mosley of the Maximist faction has invited George Valois of the French Solarians, Eventi Burley of the former Bolsheviks in Georgia, and Benito Mussolini of the Italian National Syndicalists to Birmingham to compile a manifesto stating their joint aims for a new type of socialism called Totalism. Chairman Snowden's Federation list should keep an eye on this development. Worrying, to say the least. Assassination of President Kerensky. Kerensky has just been shot and killed while on the way to the Senate. The assailant was taken down by the police, but the goals and intentions of the attacker are unknown. Despite his massive unpopularity among the Russian people due to botched land reform and ineffective rule, Kerensky was nevertheless able to hold the country together for years, and his death has thrown Russia into chaos. The Senate is already discussing possible replacements to Kerensky. New coalitions are being formed between both the left and the right, while military men like Denikin, Wrangel, the main man, Wrangel, and Kornilov are just one step away from intervening to resolve democracy and save Mother Russia. How barbaric. They should join socialism. That'd be awesome. Alright, so we are still a little bit low in oil and chromium, but we should at least have some kind of production for our ships now. Build 1.62 a year, which is kind of slow. How's the trade? The Congress of Trade Unions is progressing. Political power is going up very slowly. Edward VIII, crowned King of Britain. George V, the last King of Great Britain and Ireland, have ruled the Home Isles themselves, has passed while in exile in Canada. The first Winter King, his reign shall be remembered with sorrow and sadness, as during it Britain lost both the Weltkreig and its homeland. No, they didn't. They regained their homeland. The crown was inherited by Edward, Prince of Wales, who now stylises himself as the pretender Edward VIII. King Edward is a vengeful and ambitious man and not on good terms with Prime Minister Mackenzie King. He lives on the goal of avenging his father and invading the British Isles, and thus is quite popular with the British exiles in Canada, amongst others. The Totalist Charter, Mussolini, Valois, Beria and other interested parties arrived in Birmingham today to discuss their common ground. It has been agreed that Maximism, Sorelianism and National Syndicalism all share basic principles of the state's primacy in the socialist struggle, the role of the national identity within the state and the importance of a strong central authority to preserve and build socialism. The Charter also claims the socialist state is the final stage in human development and that democracy is not necessary to achieve socialism. These statements have drawn great criticism from other socialist factions who give it the name Totalism, as a play on the totalitarian socialism, which has been eagerly accepted by Mosley, who added it to the manifesto's name, attributing it to the total commitment to socialism. All present politicians and philosophers aside the manifesto. Something, 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 appropriate language. Something, something, something. Let's hope that people reject this madness. Oh, I don't know about that. Okay, so we're at 2%. World tension. Damn it, Japan. What are you doing to make the world more tense? And has Germany started to suck yet? Oh, I forgot how strong Germany is. No. There it is, Black Monday. On the 3rd of February 1936, the Berlin Stock Exchange stopped sinking. It plunged. Fueled by the instability of the market panic, selling erupted as soon as the stock market opened on Monday morning. It took well into the night for the teleprinters to stop spluttering out the results of what became known as Black Monday. When the results had been analysed, it was clear that the situation had only got worse overnight. Mein Gott! So now you're going to have that really, really sucky aftermath of Black Monday modifier. I don't think that we get it. Being socialists, we doesn't bother us. Stock markets are banned. Emirate of Afghanistan has declared war on the Dominion of India. And world tension has actually gone down by that. Travailleurs elected in France. The Commune of France is the world's leading syndicalist nation, united as a federation of city communes and directed by the Comité de Salut Public, the primary executive. Ever since its inception, however, the Second Commune was not uniform in its policy. Numerous factions arose, each one with their own idea of what path France should take. As the time for revenge against Germany and the World Revolution closes in, the CGT election of 1936 is set to be very important. The replacement for the disgraced Monsieur Pivert arose from his own faction, the Travailleurs, who now hold the leading position in the CSP. They stand for extension of democracy and draw inspiration from the British to decentralise the Commune. Decentralise it. The Fifth Anglo-Afghani War. After the Weltkreig, as the British Raj collapsed into turmoil and warfare, the neighbouring kingdom of Afghanistan took advantage of this opportunity to seize Peshawar and Quetta, both border regions of the Dominion. However, Afghani government's attempts to modernise over the last decades have been met with fierce resistance from the conservative elements within the country. King Amanullah Khan now hopes to use the turmoil in Delhi following the death of George V to his advantage. By repeating his success of the Fourth Anglo-Afghan War, the king hopes to silence the conservative opposition and bring new lands to the crown. However, international experts do not put many hopes on the tiny mountain kingdom nation winning this conflict. I'm sure Afghanistan will be fine. Especially as they have a whopping military of 5 divisions to Dominion of India's 20. Yeah, you're only outnumbered 4-1. It's fine. Not a problem. Simples. Alright, so construction is progressing apace. Slowly but surely, thanks to the 15 construction factories that we have actually working on that right now. But it's not going to be sucking as much as Germany, who is on low stability already. We at least are generating some. The remilitarization of Valentia. The Treaty of Bucharest in 1918 officially ended the Weltkrieg for Romania, but at a high cost. The nation is now dominated by German and Austrian industries. Valentia was demilitarized and the oil fields were leased to Germany up to the year of 2012. The humiliation that the Romanians had to endure resulted in the nation devolving into a national populist dictatorship led by the conductor Cornelio Codruno and his Iron Guard set out a mission to restore Romania to what it could have been, a titan of the Balkans. The first major move conducted by the conductor was the remilitarization of Latenia, a strategic region in Wallachia with lots of oil reserves and military industry. The Romanian military has already started a mass parade in Craiova to celebrate the success. Vote for military policy. The debate has wandered into the area of military affairs. As been predicted, every faction has put forward their own suggestions. The debate is heated. Since the last few days have only been too clearly shown the deep rift between the TUC. So we go with the maximists. The military must be expanded and the local militias placed under TUC control. The army must be expanded, but only in self-defence. Or the radical socialists are saying a Scottish, English and Welsh national army. We don't want that one because I think that is splitting stuff. Let's see what they stand for again. So the autonomists are the ones that want to split everything. No, we don't want to do that. The centralist Marxists, led by Mosley, which is these guys, must be expanded and local militias placed under TUC control. Or status quo federationalists under Horner must be expanded but only in self-defence. So do we want to remain isolationist or do we want to be expansionist? We want to be expansionist because we want to take back Canada. Vote for internal policy. The debate has wandered into the area of internal policy as has been predicted. Every faction has put forward their own suggestions. The outcome is unsure since it is here the real decision for the future of the Union will be made. So the local governments must be brought into line with TUC. The current system is satisfactory. Or decentralisation, perhaps even local TUCs for the home nations. So you can only do this one if the current party is syndicalists. So it's kind of up between syndicalists and federationalists. You can have any of them for the another trade congress. I kind of like the idea of having that plus 10% national unity, honestly. But getting rid of splendid isolation would also be nice. It's got to be one of these two. So the local governments must be brought in line with the TUC or the current system is satisfactory. We're going to go maximalist. National focus bypassed. Oh, I see. Bypass those once you've had the event fire. Interesting. Okay, that's a cool way of doing it. And then you have to make the choices based on the outcomes of that, I guess. Defecting officers. In the light of recent demonstration of political freedom on our island, some royalist officers have defected to us, namely Admiral Willis, General Hutton, and Weltkrieg hero General Alexander. They could help the Republican Army and Navy with their expertise. However, while we don't have any proof there is suspicion of them that they may have fought against the workers in the Second Glorious Revolution, the Congress will decide their fate. Our popularity is rising. Due to his popular policies, one of our loyal ministers has managed to strengthen the ideology. Some additional influence, we could increase our popularity. We don't actually want to do that because that's going to increase the syndicalist popularity. I still kind of like the idea of the syndicalist. No, we're going Mosley. No, we don't need it. We're fine. We're not trying to direct this in any way at all. Definitely not. The First International Congress. Representatives from numerous syndicalist and socialist nations have gathered in Paris today in what might just be the defining moment in the history of the ideologies. The French Commune has invited numerous countries to the first official gathering of the members of the Third Internationale to discuss political, foreign matters and cooperate on spreading socialism further. The French opened the International with a powerful parade, festivities in Paris, and finally a speech by the chairman of the CSP. Topics like Spain, the United States, and the world economic crisis are at the top priority, and it's expected that France and Britain will take the initiative in the gathering. It's an interesting development. And with that, we will have to end this episode, so thank you very much for watching. If you are enjoying this so far, then please do hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, then do consider subscribing. It really does help the channel out. And if you have any tips or advice for me, let me know in the comments. Or likewise, if you just want to ask questions or make me aware of stuff, whatever, just let me know. It's always interesting and cool to hear from you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Goodbye.